What is going on, everybody? So, for those of you who have been around for a long time, you're going to recognize this song. If you're new to Red and Summer, this is the first song that I ever put out, and it's coming up on its 2-year anniversary, which is something crazy to think about. That there's 2 years almost of released music now for the project. I'm going to go through, and part of the first album that I released, especially the first half of the album, so the songs weren't as what I envisioned them to be. The quality wasn't that great because I was just getting started. I had literally none of what you see here. I was doing it just off of a laptop. But now that it's going well, I want to go ahead and re-record some songs. As you can see that it's open, I've been doing some vocals recently, I haven't done it on this yet, but doing on other projects, trying to get some of the new songs out. But also, like in the time being, I'm going to go ahead and re-record these. And worst case scenario, I'm going to throw these out on Patreon if I don't want to put them back on streaming services, but I'll put them out. And it'd be fun. It's fun to see how my style has changed and how my character has developed within the last 2 years. So if you haven't heard the song, there's two parts to it. So Howls of Loss is this intro section right here. And all it was a microcosm, which was this guy right here. And I highly recommend, if you are looking for like a really cool pedal to do effects, to do different reverbs. I mean, this thing has everything in it. It has delays, reverbs. I think it even has, it has the ability to loop inside here too. It's a really, really cool pedal. You can see this all over YouTube, all over Instagram. Please go ahead and check these guys out. They are awesome. I took this pedal, and if you see right here, it says microcosm intro. I took the guitar, the verse guitar, which is some seventh chords that are being played around, and I fed it through the microcosm on probably the same setting that I have here, to be quite honest. I haven't used it in a while, but it's really cool. So if you listen to how it builds, it has what's called a decay functionality that allows it to break apart into these types of sections, which is really, really cool. And it's just spacey, it's weird, it's neat. And it actually has the same tonality as the verse, so it does prepare you to hear everything else. You can see here the clean guitar starts to come in. It's neat. Drop out. If you listen to the vocals, I was going through a really big shoegaze vibe on here, so a lot of the vocals are ducked. But it's still sick. I've always loved this chorus. I think this thing's really sick. It's really, really neat. And through here, the vocal idea was like Alice in Chains. Whenever you have a call and response, I really love Alice in Chains, and that was something that I always wanted to do in a song, which I did here, but I did it shoegazy. So it's pretty cool, and I really think there's some amazing parts in here. The drums for this section, these were printed off of Superior Drummer. One thing I always wanted to change about the song, which I am now, is that the snare, in my mind, I always wanted it to be thicker and deeper. This was all processed on different sorts of equipment that, honestly, I don't think I have one piece of equipment of what I actually processed this song. Yeah, I've sold everything. It's all going for the new stuff in the desk. But it processed all through this equipment, which was sick, but the snare was very, nu metal, which is cool. It vibes with the bass a lot. It's pretty sick. I mean, for being such an old song, it is really sick. And that with the guitar these are sums, by the way. So these were like two guitars that were thrown. That's a really great trick. If you're trying to record stuff, record doubles, quad tracks. Doing a 6 track's kind of excessive sometimes, but if you're really tight and you're playing, it could be cool. You put one guitar on the right, one guitar on the left, and then here I bounced it or printed it into one band that you're hearing right here. Same thing with the lead. Let's see. That's really all that was happening. At this point, I didn't have any like synthesizers. I really wasn't using these guys that much for this project. I've used on several others, but just not this one at the moment. Let's see. And yeah, you can see at the top, I'm going ahead and re-recording some sections. So here was one of my favorite parts of Levitate, like of all time. There was a solo section in it. I was really excited. It was like my first solo project. And I was like, I want to put some solo guitar. There is some really cool instrumentation going on in here, and then the drums change into this. It's so cool. I want you to listen. It's pretty awesome. So it's being played on like a Phrygian scale. It's sick. I think it's really cool. Yeah. It's really neat, but that was actually recorded on this. That was recorded on a Telecaster, and I really love the Telecaster whenever you throw it in the first position with the neck pickup. It is so, it's like round of a sound, and whenever you push it, it's really, really cool. I re-recorded the solo here on the Jazzmaster. God, it's a little bit more hi-fi. It's a little bit cleaner. The verse in chorus guitars are being re-recorded on the Jazzmaster. I have behind me too, because I like the way that those pickups sound versus this. I might actually go back and re-record the solo on this guitar, but I can show you. Let's see, I have Telecaster DI, but this is actually Jazzmaster right here. I can show you what it sounds like, and this is like I'm going through and like demoing all the old parts to make sure, number one, I know how to play them, and number two, that they're sounding better in the hi-fi. And if something doesn't fit, like some of the chorus guitars right now are a little tricky, I'm going through and fixing those. So I see Telecaster DI. I'm curious on whether or not this is the solo. This might be just the chorus guitar. Yes, that's the chorus Jazzmaster. And if you notice, it has the same sort of tonality as this did. But this one, that was something I wanted to make the rhythm more apparent. Because this one's bum, 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 bum. The other one's actually following what the drums are doing. So if you listen to this with the drums, it's just like eighths. Which it's sick, I might actually go back to that. I might put this during the solo and put the other part during the chorus. So here's how it sounds with the actual like syncopation. It's a little bit quieter than the other one. It's sick. It's really sick. But I might actually go back and do the other part. I'm trying to find, this might be the solo guitar. That's one thing. I started tracking this again like 3 or 4 months ago, and then I had to put out Artificial Love and Consume. So I stopped tracking this, and now I'm finally going back, and with this like behind the scenes series, this is perfect excuse for me to go back. I have a camera full of battery, an SD card full of storage, so I can go through and do this stuff again. So I think this is the solo guitar, but we're going to find out together. Okay, cool. So now you can actually hear some of the notes that I'm hitting. So it goes from minor into more of a Phrygian. And let's see, actually, I plugged up my guitar. That's awesome. I can go through. This was played on the Jazz Master, but the delay's bad. That's the one thing that's bad about using some of those plugins in here. And if you see, I'm actually stacking two neural plugins, so the delay is just terrible. So it starts off here. If you can, hey, you actually can't see me. So whenever you're playing it, there's some specific parts in the solo that need to be, like, have that slide to them. So then it goes up. So whenever that part's happening, that there's some tremolo happening at certain points, kind of a little bit of vibrato that I'm doing. I gotta remember how to play it. So there's that part has always been really, really cool to like the telly, because the slide on the telly it's just such a cool little slide to do. And I think, like, versus the Jazz Master, this has a little bit more laxity in the strings. Like, it's tighter. It's like a lot tighter than this. I don't know. This one just plays around a lot more, and I kind of like this. I might have to re-record it on the Telecaster, honestly. And it's a good homage to. And look, worst case scenario, if it sounds like shit, it's all right. I can just put the other one back in. You see, that's the one part of. There's a section at the end. If you don't get that correct, it just doesn't sound right. That's always been a part. Maybe I should just go for it. I'm gonna mess it up like 3 or 4 times, but I haven't played the solo in like 2 years, maybe a year back. I was jamming on it, but like, well, no. This was recorded 4 months. Okay, so it's been 4 months, which is still, that's a lot of time. So let's see. Here we go. That's one thing that kind of sucks about the Tele versus the Jazz Master is the gain setting. There we go. A little bit down. Let's do that again. That's somewhat. I think that might be there. Now the one thing, like two, that I've been wanting to change about my setup, which will take getting some more front end, which is why I got that Kemper over here, is that the latency is really terrible on here. So how you're hearing it is probably, I don't know, 10, probably less, probably like 4, 6 milliseconds after I'm actually playing it. My headphones are playing it 3 milliseconds after that. And I'm obviously hearing it as I'm playing it. So it's like a timing nightmare, which is why I just throw on the auto time. And it gets about 30% right. And then what I can do is, even with the low latency mode, I'll go through, cut everything off, and then re-record it. But for now, to see how it fits, it's be pretty cool. I don't think it... There's something moving around here. Yeah, the eighth is fine for it. It's really not moving my notes around, to be quite honest. I'm actually playing it. But it's fine. It's not bad, but it's just, I don't know. Before I delete it, let me just throw that here. I kind of like the Jazzmaster more in this situation. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Jazzmaster. The Telly, that's kind of like the original sound, but that Jazzmaster is still just so cool. And it's also kind of, I have huge fingers, so it also is a little bit easier for me to nail some of those runs on here because of the extra space. It's pretty sick. I like it. I think I'm sticking with it. So then one thing I can do is put a little bit more wetness on it. Because I really want to bury the hell out of it, because in the original it was buried. For now, that's fine. So here's the new parts. So let me go through and make sure that everything else is off. So I have all these old stems here. I have the vocals off because, God forbid, I might actually get copyright striked for using my own music. So we're going to see. There's my old print bus. Let's see. I don't need that on right now, but I can just mute that for now. And for the guitars, I actually went through and re-recorded a lot of this. This is sick. This has a density that the first version did not have. That snare has some density to it. The drums are literally exactly the same in terms of what's being played. This is a little bit too present compared to the old version, so I'm gonna have to duck that back a little bit more, but honestly, it's okay. So the syncopation makes it heavy, but what we could do is go through and tame it a little bit. Because the bass, the bass has always been syncopated, but the rhythm guitar has not always been syncopated. So all it is just really simple. That delay, I swear. All right, let's see. better. Okay, so it goes from. We're real simple. It's never been something crazy. So. But that original guitar was. So maybe let's try just with the downstrokes. Maybe that's the secret sauce. Maybe that's what it was missing the whole time. I doubt it, but let's see. Okay, already it's feeling a little bit better to me. Maybe that's placebo, but we'll see. And I think the octaver on this is just a little bit too intense for what I needed to do right now. This is, so I originally did it on Archetype Plenty, but this is Archetype Gojira, and I'm using this whammy pedal that they have, and I can try to maybe mess around with this. We just take this pedal, so it's all the way back. So it's nothing. Let me mix a little bit more into it and see what happens. It's just giving it a little bit of hair, which is good. And the one thing, so if you see kind of my EQ curve, I'm kind of dipping it towards the middle, trying to get out a little bit of that mud. These guitar plugins, you'll hear what I'm saying on the high end, so like listen to that really crackly stuff that's coming through. These modelers model everything, and they even model the amp noise on top, which is not really ideal, and you don't want to be hearing that stuff, so. Like, you really want to pull that stuff in, because it gets so crazy, it causes ear fatigue. It's not fun. Let's just see. Because now the tone is better, so maybe the syncopation works. Maybe it was so much low end that if I was changing too quickly, it was muddying up. So maybe that's it. Maybe we just need to fix this a little bit. Let's see. For the love of God, let's turn that on, turn on a metronome. Also, I'm pressing the ever-living God out of this. Not necessarily to bend the note, but I want it to be like intonation to be on it. So if you see my pinkies, it's all like robotic. It's because I'm pressing so hard that I want it to be perfect. And I'm using a lot heavier gauge strings on this as well. So, all right, that's significantly better than the last one. I've always liked this guy. I don't even know if I remember how to play it, but this was sick. It's the same. Okay, that's it. So whenever you're playing it, it's the same as that intro to the solo. But whenever you're playing this one, you kind of stick down a little bit lower. So it's just a little. It's like that Nick Jonas, but you just hit a little. And you bar with your pinky at the very end. So. This was recorded on the Jazz Master. I kind of want to. The Jazz Master, you can push it aggressively and the tone's still dull the way that I have it set up. I really enjoy it, and it's a comfortable guitar to play. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty sick. And you can kind of tell too from the waveforms, you want your legatos to kind of bleed into the next note if you have it as a solo, if you have that as a rhythm. It's really important for rhythm guitar to pay attention to how you're starting and how you're finishing a note. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm on time, like. But if it's like, yeah, technically I'm still on time, but how I'm ending the note changes the feel completely. So that part of that syncopation, what's so cool was that it almost sounds like King of the Hill at one point, but still, you get the point, is that if you change it too much, if you don't pay attention to your decay and your ending, it's all gone. Not bad at all. So I'm going to go through and just copy this again. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we have the demo. So essentially it's these parts I just repeat. I got to redo these vocals because I sure as shit am not going to put this back out without putting brand new vocals on it. This seems to be two guitars between this part and this part because I need to take down the gain so it explodes a little bit more. Let's hear it. That's sick. I mean, it's a fun song. I really enjoyed it. To this day, it's probably one of my favorite songs. Just because of how unique and weird it is. Like, this one was really weird. Tar was really weird. There was... what was the other one? I always want to say an Apathy. Save Me. Save Me was really cool, too, because it was just a weird song. It was like Mastodon-y. So what I meant by these two parts was to be different. So this part versus this part. There's a lot of hair on this one for a verse. Probably have a pedal. Yeah, great. That's way too little. Great, now it's surf rock. So what we can do... we got to hear the transition. Between these two guys and see what needs to... It's actually not bad. It's just a little bit too bright compared to the other one. can actually put a different flavor of overdrive on it too. This is more of a distortion-ish. It's still an overdrive, but it has a lot more harmonic character than this. I'm assuming this is a tube screamer. I really don't know what these are, but for this one, it's a little bit more controlled as compared to the orange one. Sick. So there's a crescendo into the chorus. And it's as simple as that. So then this can be cut out for the demo. I'll just throw this back here. And then this guitar, I re-recorded that chorus guitar again, even though I had it before, because during the chorus it like I peaked out my preamp, and it's good. Like I'm pushing the preamp hard right now, but you don't want to push it too hard. And I think it's my fault. I hit it way too hard. So let's see, with the solo now. Right here. Really? Whoa. So much reverb. So much reverb. It's my fault. I put way too much. Oh, I was like, that's weird. I'm on the wrong channel. Make sure I'm getting the right character out of the solo guitar. So this was more crunchy. It sounds like it was kind of like the Plenty guitar amp that I just went through and just boosted the ever-living goodness out of it. So let's see. If I go through on here, see if I can recreate that. Okay, that's what I did. I really want a 4-2-1 on this, like a Sennheiser. And I don't need that frequency either. That's pretty close to the old tone. I mean, I think that's almost... Yeah, this one's just like crunchy. It needs to have that Phrygian character, because that's what I've really loved about the original. Okay, and then there's a clean guitar. And it just gets into a snare roll, right back to it, into a final chorus. And in the final chorus here, there was a couple of vocal differences that happened, but I want to put some more. I want to put some more, and I'm thinking there's specific parts here that I could go higher on the vocals than I originally did, which I think would make it. So it's just the verse guitar. So I'll go through just for now and make what I like to call shitty guitar by going through, throwing a guitar track from the verse, shortening it up, and then intentionally degrading the tone by going into the plugin. Yep, same effect, honestly. And then there's a swell track that I programmed these cymbals. I'm probably not going to change these cymbals. I'll just have to remake some, but still, the idea is still there. Hopefully this whole time you've been able to hear my voice either with the music or in tandem, because I'm looking at the camera right now and it looks like the volume's kind of competing, but we'll see. Let's see. Now maybe I can even try it with the old vocals, see what it sounds like to just get an idea. Even with the old vocals, it sounds a lot better. Oh, I'll say that's weird. The intro's not there. That's because there is no intro. No. Did I delete the microcosm track? Oh, come on, man. How? When did that get deleted? Oh, no. That's one thing that you always have to be careful. So what I'll do on here is I'm going to save this as a copy. And then I'm going to go through and try to find that microcosm track. We must have deleted that. No. All right. Okay. It's in there somewhere. And I know if I go digging around in some of the old files, I can probably find it again. Let's see. How many steps back? Oh, it was a while back. Whoa. So look, this was, oh, there we go. So it must have been whenever I made that other track, I deleted this one. Okay. Whew. That was not fun. That was a little bit of panic. I don't know if you saw that. So what I can do here is copy this, and then open Recent, open the mix session. Don't close because I'm going to copy in between. So yeah, I mean, this is a good time to say as well, hopefully you're enjoying all these videos. So on the Patreon, there's essentially this type of video where I'm going through some of the old songs. There's hopefully going to be some playthrough, although this had a little bit of playthrough in it too. There's some of the new songs that haven't been released yet that are starting to be released out on the Patreon, so check that out as well. And then a lot of these are popping up on YouTube, but they're like 3-4 weeks, late. So if you see the short and you want to see the rest of the video, it's free on Patreon. You can join the Patreon for free. There's a lot of free stuff on it. To see some of the more in-depth behind the scenes, the least that you have to pay is $1. That's it, $1. And you get access to all this stuff. And it goes a long way whenever you do that. $1 is around 250 streams. And unless you want to give me 250 minutes of your time, which I'm more than happy, $1 is really great. So yeah, I'm going to go in now, and I copied it. Logic should remember. Thank you. And now I can go through here and close this guy. Do not save because I don't care. Save this one. So let's see. It's great. This one could be moved up. Before I got rudely interrupted, I wanted to see how the vocals sounded with the new version. Sounds a lot more high def, I can say. Turn my gain up a little bit so maybe you can hear me better. Damn. That's sick. So, I actually haven't seen these vocals in a long time. Oh, wow. So, I did this a lot different than what I do now. Whoa, I haven't seen this. And this is cool for me seeing this. I haven't seen these vocals in a long, long time. All right, so what's actually happening during the chorus? Let's check it out together. These are tuned hard. I used to have, it wasn't auto-tune, it was something from like Waves, which, not to shit on Waves, but it was a terrible plugin. It was awful. And that's the best that I could get out of it. And the standard now is to kind of tune some vocals, so I was like, oh shoot, this is all I got. So I had a call and response line. So this is the call. The next one's the response line. Which is not bad, it's really not a bad vocal. And there's some O's. Oh, and I put a flanger on them, apparently. So that's the tone track. So the lead dub, what I did was I slammed it with tuning on a separate one that I recorded and mixed it to where I got the tone of that and put it behind my voice. So not only does it make it produce a tone more, it gives my first vocal the ability to sound airy and fresh and fun while still having the tone that I need. And this, the way that I used to mix this off of my old computer was I had basically a mono mix embedded in a stereo mix. You don't really need to do this because there's not a lot of systems that are true mono anymore. And this used to be a thing, 10, 20 years ago that you wanted to mix something that had the effects in mono so that if somebody was listening to it on one speaker, so like if you're holding up your phone and you, for some reason, just like destroy one of the speakers, you only have one coming out, you could hear potentially all the stereo effects in one. So it's a weird like way to mix, but it rewards people that are listening in mono. And here's some gang vocals. And I flanged the hell out of these two. And then you put all those together. It's cool. I mean, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's not everyone's vibe, but it was certainly a vibe for this song. It looks like for the verses, they were just chopped to hell.
When my soul's complete, mistake the same thing.
Yeah, and I just sang one high and one low. And same thing for this part too.
Take what you need.
Yeah, man, this is such a long time ago. But listening to it without the vocals, I think these new vocals are going to change the game on Levitate. I think it's going to really make it a pretty cool song. So that's a dense mix. It's dense. There's not a lot happening in it, but it's entertaining to me, and it sounds a lot better than the old one. So it gets me really excited. And what's really going to make the song too is making sure transitions are smooth. So like right now, there's not a lot of great transitions. The microcosm intro, I'm honestly going to steal the old intro because it was just good. It was just really cool. I'm going to steal that, throw it back there. But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, this is really Levitate. See, what I also could do here, just cut out. I need to make sure I cut out in the right part. It's a work in progress, so I'm gonna have to go through that stuff again. But yeah, that is Levitate. I mean, really broken down about 50 minutes, going through and seeing what made the original song. If you've never heard the original song, this is the first time you're hearing it. Maybe that gives you some reason to go check it out too. It'd be pretty cool. And now, whenever you listen to it, if you've been listening to it for a while, now you know what it actually comes from and what's making up the whole song. Not a lot of parts, to be quite honest. I mix a lot more efficiently now, but in terms of modern production, this really isn't that too many parts. And you got to keep in mind, half of these are the new song too. So it really was a really special song to me. It was the first time that I'd ever wrote anything on my own and specifically recorded vocals on anything. So that was essentially square one. So it's really fun for me to think like, okay, this was square one. I wonder, what is it going to be like in another 2 years whenever I come back to this. So it's pretty cool. And it definitely gets my playing chops up. I have to relearn stuff that I wrote, which is always a fun thing to do. I think probably one of the next ones I'll do after this, someone else was, so like Levitate was the first song that I wrote, but someone else was the first song that changed the game on Red and Summer. So Red and Summer has had a couple of pivotal songs. Levitate set the stage, but it was okay. There was no one to release it to. Someone else like catapulted Red from nothing to something, and that was a huge jump because who's going to listen to a band that just started? It takes a very special person. If you're still around, that means a lot. But it takes a very special person to listen to a band at that point. It took it from not that great to okay. Well, now we're on the map. Something's happening. And then right after someone else, I released Circles. And that was all within the span of like 3 months. That in combination with some smart promoting on my part using Facebook ads, and you've probably seen a Facebook ad, and that's why you're here. And they're not cheap, but in the long run, Red is actually a profitable band, and that's something that I'm very happy about. Am I cutting millions of dollars? No, but Red is paying for itself, and it's allowing me to reach more people and to spread my music, which is really awesome. But Circles and someone else were like cataclysmic for the band and pushing it because it got me into a really great. I started building a fan base off of that part. So those two are really special. There was that one, and then out of the new cycle, Tar, or I say new, the second cycle, Good Night, because I'm still thinking that Digital Catechism, that's now old, Good Night. So out of Digital Catechism, Tar was huge. Whenever I dropped it for the band, Tar shot up numbers. People really enjoyed it. Gemini actually now is crazy how many people listen to Gemini. Hopefully you like it too if you're listening. Gemini was written in, I kid you not, 3.5 hours, done. And that was it. Like, it was the quickest I've ever wrote a song, I've ever wrote vocals. But yeah, 3.5, maybe 4 hours, done. That like kind of didn't have the reception that I needed it to have at that time. And then Echoes was 2022. I wrote it just sitting on like an acoustic guitar, and I was like, this is pretty sick. And that was the first style of a Red and Summer song that I'd ever written at that time. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to sit on it and let it mature. There are several songs from Echoes class that I haven't released that honestly, I'm going to be honest, I think they're better than Echoes. Echoes was like one of the weakest ones out of the bunch. And it's a good song. It's a really good song. And some of the ones that I'm recording now have the same vibe as Echoes. But Echoes was really lucky because it had the push of the album. And it's really easy to advertise a softer song. Echoes was not advantageous. It wasn't crazy. It was just a real strong song. And because it was that strong, I mean, it reached a lot of you when advertising. And then yet again, in like November, I think November, I just put out Consume, and I finished Death of the Body. I was like, all right, so the album's done. Let me just promote Echoes again, because Facebook went through like an advertising update. Long story short, some songs are a little bit more expensive to promote than others. Like Consume, metrics wise, did better than Echoes, but it was more costly to promote Consume. It was like 5 times more. So I was like, let me just get 5 people on Echoes versus 1 on Consume, because I'm not playing the song game. I'm playing the career game, if that makes sense. So I did it again, and yet again, Echoes came out, and it's doing great again. It's doing really, really awesome. So long story short, if you're still here, I really appreciate it. If you were here at the beginning with this, like obviously you can see the transformation of what's happened through the band, and I really appreciate it. I can't stress it enough how crucial it is for y'all as fans. Whenever y'all comment, whenever y'all like, you subscribe, you listen to the music. I mean, at a very minimum, that not only does it help Red and Summer a lot, but it's motivation. It's really, really heartwarming. And seriously, like, it's so heartwarming to see that there's some days that, you wake up and you're like, oh God, I got to re-record a whole song. That whenever you see some of these comments, it touches your soul, and you're like, this is all right. Like, this is why I play the game, Like, this is why this is part of a career, because to see that somebody on the other side of the world is listening to this, and not only listening, but it's giving them a better day. Like, that's the whole reason that Red and Summer was started, because I love playing music. I love messing around on guitar, but let's be honest, if I didn't want to have, a connection with fans, I would have just done it at home. I wouldn't have bought any of this stuff, definitely. So it's so heartwarming, and it's encouraging. And for the foreseeable future, and by that I mean years, Red's not stopping. It's going to take a lot to make Red and Summer stop, because it means a lot. And beyond being financially secure with Red, which I'm so fortunate that I am, to see everybody enjoying it, to see the community, hands down, that's the best. The community's the best. So I really do appreciate it. And if you are thinking about subscribing to the Patreon and you can't spare the money, I get it. Send a DM, whatever. I can give you a free gift. I'm more than happy to give a free gift code for that. It only works for 1 month, and it doesn't let me do it more than once, but I can give you a free tier. So you can go ahead and check it out. You can get maybe like 60 days truly of like free stuff, because I just want people to see it at the very end. And hopefully a little bit of that money helps to fund more of this stuff. But if you don't want the higher tiers, the free tier of Patreon gives you access to the podcast, which is the audio version of a lot of this stuff. Some more behind the scenes. And it's just all around really, really cool to do. So I highly recommend going through and doing it. And as always, thank you so much. And I'm cutting off the video before my computer dies and the camera dies. It's been a while. So bye.